Well, a big focus today on the show, the testing methods for coronavirus. Now, the Delhi High Court had recently pulled up the Aam Aadmi Party government for choosing the rapid antigen testing, that is RAT, which has a high rate of false negative results over the RT-PCR testing method, which is considered the gold standard. Now, as India has ramped up testing, there's more and more reliance on rapid antigen testing, which can be done on a large scale and quickly, and it's less expensive and time-consuming. RT-PCR tests, apart from RT-PCR and RAT, India also is conducting TrueNat and CBNat tests, but these comprise a minor percentage of the total number of tests that are being conducted across the country. So, RAT is it can be done faster and is less expensive, while RT-PCR, the gold standard, is more expensive and takes more time. Well, to talk more about the tests and their reliability, we're now joined by Dr. Navin Dang, a founder of Dr. Dang's lab in Delhi, one of the leading labs in the national capital. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Dang, first just take us through the main tests that are currently being used in India, the RT-PCR and rapid antigen tests, and how reliable are they?
All the tests which are available in the market at the moment for testing for disease, COVID-19, have their own plus and minus points and have their own limitations as well as advantages. The gold standard still remains real-time PCR, that is RT-PCR as called it in short. This test is performed, as we all know, by taking a nasopharyngeal swab and an oral swab. There's a nasal swab and an oral swab is taken, and that is put in the viral transport media and brought to the lab, and is processed under biosafety level 2+ facilities, and where we do an RNA extraction and amplification, and we come to the conclusion whether the test is positive or negative. This test has got a specificity of nearly 100%. That means if it is correct, it's nearly 100% correct, and it has got a sensitivity of about 67%. That means that's its ability to pick up the disease only about 67 to 70%. By that I mean that there are hardly any chances of any false positive, but false negative, it can be about 13-35%. And it can depend upon various factors. First, of course, the inherent problem with the test itself. I won't call it the problem, I call it the methodology as such. Number two, if the sample is not taken properly, sample being taken properly is of utmost importance. The head should be tilted back, the swab should be put in the nasal cavity, and gone deep down, and a good statement should be taken from there, and then an oral swab should be taken. Second limitation can be if people tend to get the test done a little too early, and people have now developing this kind of a fad. They feel that's a preventive test. They come and say, "Hamara test kar do," and for no symptoms, etc., which is totally wrong. I, through this media today, implore and request patients and friends that they should not get the test done unless and required. The average incubation period of the test is about 5.6 days. That is, it becomes positive 6th day onwards, only after a contact or after the patient has been infected. So wait, and then symptoms develop. If the symptoms develop, then only get the test done. Yes, there are questions that asymptomatic transmission is occurring, but that asymptomatic transmission, when occurring or contact transmission, as we call it, will have to wait and watch. And that can be answered only by the serious surveillance as it progresses. Second test, what we talked about is the RAT test, that is rapid antibody test. Rapid antibody test is a test which is usually a point of care test. By that I mean that the test is performed only in hospital settings. It cannot be performed in a standalone lab because the sanctity of the test is about 1 hour only. That is from the time the sample is taken and is processed. The test accuracy is only for about 1 hour or so. So it cannot be done like in any collection center or from a home visit or something. Like even if sample is collected 3 to 4 kilometers from the place where it's going to be tested. As you can imagine, in Delhi or Mumbai, any places, traffic conditions, etc., by the time it is transported and labeled and numbered and accession, etc., 1 hour passes by. So it is not recommended to be done in OPD settings at all. Sorry, in settings, in a lab setting at all. It should only be done point of care, right? The specificity of this test is again very high. The sensitivity is little ambiguous. There are many studies going on. But at the moment, we do not have any reliable answer. But the sensitivity is supposedly much less than that of RT-PCR. And as the protocol says, that first, if the test is positive, then let the patient be treated as positive. But if negative, and the patient has got ILI, that is influenza-like symptoms, then the patient should go in for a repeat RT-PCR. So these are the two tests for diagnosing. And
all right. So, Doctor, last week a judge of the Delhi High Court had questioned the Delhi government, in fact, over their, relying a lot on the RAT, that's a rapid antigen test, asking if it's so reliable, then, why are we, that if it's not as reliable, given the high numbers of false negatives, why are we using it to such an extent?
Well, again, it has got its own advantages in the way that can be done on a mass level. Because like you see that number of tests which are being performed are in thousands now. The tests are being performed even in community centers, even gurdwaras, even mandirs, etc. So that is the advantage of that, and it's economical. But yes, you're absolutely right. Too much of reliability on rapid antigen test, which shows lots and lots of false negatives, is a questionable thing. And I think the government may have to reconsider this decision. The authorities may have to reconsider the decision that how much reliability should they place on this test and what should be the protocol followed, that how the testing modality should be put in place. See, Garima, there's a major situation in the way that the number of people who are asking for the test is high and the number of people going to provide, last being able to provide the RT-PCR test is not that great. Because the number of tests, the main problem that comes out is the sampling. Now, for anybody to go to say certain places in Delhi, which are inaccessible, with the no roads, with the traffic jams, and one person going out there and collecting one sample from XYZ place, which may be some far-flung place, is quite a challenge. I know my staff members who have gone to distant places where there are no roads, there are narrow lanes, there are flats. So for one person to go and collect one sample from a far-flung place, so the what you can say, the productivity becomes quite low of that particular technician. So here, if large number of people come to the hospital and get it done, the productivity becomes higher. So that is one major advantage of a rapid antigen test. Yes, but again, you can say that what's the point of doing great number of tests if the accuracy is at stake? So.
All right. And Doctor, moving away from the whole testing, it's been several months of first the lockdown. Now we have Unlock 3.0 in progress. Do you think people are just fatigued with it all? And this, in fact, could be a very dangerous thing, given that we know that so many people are asymptomatic but infected with COVID?
Interesting question. And that's something which that's what I've been strongly talking to people about and saying that now is the time we have to be very, very careful. Now the time when you have to be very, very careful, because this is a time when people have become very careless. They've let their guard down. As you can see, the roads are full, the markets are full, people are shopping around, people have even started walking around. And with all these kind of circumstances, the mindset of people that push nahi hoga, they've got kind of used to the fact that now that fear has gone from their minds, the fear of corona has gone from their minds, and this is an extremely dangerous situation which can lead to a second spike coming. We are fortunate to see that the number of cases, at least in Delhi, has started coming down. But people again started traveling outside just for vacations, etc., for non-essential purposes is something which they ought to be considered very, very carefully, and not to let the spike come back again.
All right, Dr. Dang, thank you so much for speaking with NDTV.